Hello to everyone listening. Welcome to Thinking Out Loud. You might be wondering, when he starts these episodes, how does he know what to talk about? How does he know what to say and how to connect that with another thought and another thought? Well, I'd say that quite simply by not doing it. Now, what I mean by that is that I don't. I decide that sorry guys, I'm being an asshole on the actually this is a nice topic. I'll get back to the other thing in a minute. Why does driving teach us so much about us? About humans, our behavior in society, and why is it that let's say, look at what just happened. A car crossed the road or got into my lane, got incorporated into my lane with what I consider a margin of error that was too close, so to speak. If that makes sense. I mean, I just decided that there was certain risk to him doing that, and that it's negative because I didn't choose that to happen. I didn't decide that to happen. It's actually not even positive for me in any way. So I decide that it's bad. I decide just based on the premise that I didn't decide this, even though nothing has happened, I have this natural urge to call, maybe to just honk at the other car, or just signal to the other guy driving the other car that I am not satisfied with his behavior. I want to inform him that his behavior was negative. And so why do we get that urge? And why do we get that in many other occasions in life? Why is it so present? I think it's really interesting to think about this. And as I said, I was gonna talk before I mentioned this, how does he speak? How do you talk about stuff and follow up on things? Let's say it's not me speaking. I just go along and enjoy the trip, and literally words come to your mouth. That's literally how you speak. If you pause the video for a second and you start speaking yourself, just speak out loud about a topic, you will find out that you don't decide the words you say, they just come up to you. It's not like you're thinking, you're preparing them and then you put them out. As I'm saying this, I am not thinking about what to say. I'm just literally expressing what I'm feeling. And as for the topic you're talking about, you didn't pick it up. You decide talk about something, but that topic in particular, you didn't choose. So it could be said, or you could see it in this way. I'm essentially in no control of literally nothing whatsoever at any time. Not even my own actions, perhaps. Might not be like this, but let me develop on this. Let's think that you have no control over that whatsoever. Thank you. See, that's the example of the car thing. A guy just crossed. Nothing happened. As you can see, I'm driving. I'm still driving. And yet, I felt threatened. I felt like I had to go on a defense mode and be aggressive at the other guy. Hey, thank you. Why did I say thank you? Well, not because he was listening, not because it was gonna make my life better. I just said it because I wanted to signal to the other guy driving the other car, the other independent soul that literally behaves the same way that I do, which is freely, that I'm not satisfied with what he's done. I don't agree with it. And he's done literally nothing. If I stop and think about it, and I am patient, or I am open-minded, I don't know how you call this, but if I have maybe the patience and the intelligence to actually process the situation that just happened, a guy just crossing lanes, was it a problem? Should it be a problem? Like, is this something that I want to be bothered about? Well, maybe you think it thoroughly and like you decide that, well, it's not only not a problem, but it's something that shouldn't be a problem, because I consider even the realization of that, I mean, let me think better about what I'm saying, because like I often do this in the podcast. I just talk fast, and I need to remind myself it's thinking out loud. I am thinking, and then I have to communicate it. Like, the thinking, you guys don't see it. There's no way of showing you guys what I'm thinking, at least in this format. So I need to use words, I need to use language to like express those thoughts. However, if I just throw myself into saying words for no reason whatsoever, there's a chance I'm not going to be communicating this in the most optimal way. And so that's why I said, okay, let me stop and think. I can tell myself to not like behave that way. I can actually reason myself. Like right now, that thing that happened like a few minutes ago, that a car just like tried to cross in front of me, that was like a huge word, like to the point that I even reacted to it. I said like thank you, like in a very sarcastic manner. It's like, why the fuck am I doing that? And why the fuck do we do that so often in life? Obviously, we know that some people have more control than others over how they behave, or that's perhaps how we understand it, like having more control. What if no one has more control than others? What if people simply have better goals, bigger goals? Maybe their ethics are different. You know, maybe you consider that reacting to something out of the blue is negative. You decide that. You decide like, okay, this is negative. Maybe that's something you think. But for whatever reason affects this, what is arguably a fact is that we do tend to act impulsively. As far as I understand, and I could be wrong because I never finished high school, but as far as I understand, certain impulsive behaviors that we have, they have been automated because they have a purpose. You know, a purpose, like same way that you are designed to run in moments of fear. Like if you see something that is scary enough that you consider that you are at risk, you're scared and you fly away. You know, you run away. That is obviously very helpful. Like when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, obviously very helpful, because we used to live in the jungle, and that was like very important to get away from predators without actually having to like process what the predator is or what it's going to do to you. It's just like instinctively there's certain things you don't get close to. In that sense, it has a purpose. But like responding instinctively to situations, could it be similar to like how I guess it worked in the wilderness? Like there's so little margin for error. You are surviving constantly to the point that you can't really stop and think. You need to act, and it is more important for survival to act straight away than to be able to process your thoughts and stuff. Because this idea of time and pausing and having that control over our perception of time and situations, that has only come to us once we've won the game, so to speak. Now that we have no predators, no nothing, we shape this planet as we will. We don't give a shit. We don't have to give a shit about many things because there's no need to. I'm not scared in my day-to-day about getting eaten by a lion. Why not? Don't lions have the ability to eat me? Yes, they do. They still do, and I have the possibility of being eaten by one. That's never zero. But like in the society that I live in, like look at me. I'm driving a car. I'm dressing with like clothes that I handpicked to have. Like, okay, I want the white T-shirt and I want this logo because it's gonna represent some nightlife movement in Madrid, like club life. This is Goya, for example. It's a techno club. Like I am signaling and I'm representing, but I'm handpicking what I'm going to wear. Like this society makes no sense. I mean, this kind of lifestyle, this existence, to the eyes of nature and natural selection and things that are intrinsically important in nature. Like this is not. Why? Perhaps because once we've solved so many problems, once we are at such a level, respectively, in respect to animals or mammals, like let's say primates, the most the closest thing we have to like being like fully animal, that could be primates. So perhaps once we get far enough from whatever the balance of nature is, once you start meddling with it yourself, maybe this shit gets boring. Maybe it gets boring, and you have to find ways of entertaining yourself, or maybe we just got it all wrong. I mean, maybe we don't need this that much, you know? Maybe that guy who's really happy having his little field with his vegetables and stuff, and he just sits out in the sun and read and go for walks and like smell plants and stuff. Maybe that guy isn't so wrong. Maybe that guy, despite how it doesn't make sense, and many of you listening, even I, as I say it, it doesn't really make sense. Like, why the fuck would that make sense, you know? Haven't we evolved and like adapted and grown to be like a different way? Like, no, that's how we've grown up to see it as a society. Like, you know, we're not gonna go back into like, we're not gonna say that we've been wasting time. So how are you gonna say that everything that happens is not an achievement, is not better? How are you gonna say that whatever we're doing now is better, it's not better than what we were doing in the past, you know? How are you gonna say that having, you know, a better camera in an iPhone and like faster screen refresh and minor bullshit that is not really revolutionary, how can you say in this society that that's fucking bullshit? Like, yeah, iPhones have better cameras than last year and the refresh rate is better, and I do have a couple of capabilities that I might not have had before, but can I really say that, yeah, we're surely en route to our destination, the one that we should be heading at? I have no way of understanding that, of proving that. Yeah, it might be cool. Yeah, we might have the ability to convince each other that it's cool and smart and better, but like, I have no way of knowing if that guy who's living in the countryside, having a simple life, feels things that I'm not capable of feeling unless I live that way, unless I connect with nature, with the world. Because this is something else that I think about often now that I mention that, is how are we raw? You know, how are we, if you get a kid, we can observe this in kids, and in a couple episodes I've actually said it, like, oh look, sorry for getting distracted, some kid was crossing, because it really fascinates me to see them behave, see how they act, how they behave, because it's, in my eyes, I understand it as this must be human life in its raw form, in its purest form, because it hasn't been yet affected or conditioned by society and what we call history, because that builds you, you Let me try to explain this in a way that it makes sense, because like this is something I also need to work on. As I mentioned before, thinking out loud happens in my head. I mean, thinking happens in my head. The out loud part is literally me communicating whatever is going on in my head, and I need to choose words more wisely to better communicate what I'm feeling, because it's a very, very simple form of communication compared to my thoughts or everyone else's thoughts. So let me try to explain this better. So shit, I just lost it. Fuck. See, this happens. This can happen. What was I saying right before I was explaining that? I was going on about thoughts, yeah. Holy fuck, this is really frustrating when it happens. The thought really just slipped away. It had something to do with fuck, no, it's gone. It's gone. Sorry guys, this is really, you know what, this is really honest and real. Like, what the fuck do you expect? Sometimes you have nothing to say, but why don't I have nothing to say? See, you can just keep engaging with another topic. Why don't I have nothing to say? Because I have an expectation of what I was gonna say. Now, since that's not there anymore, I'm not saying anything else, because what I want to say is something. I'm conditioning what I want to say. Actually, fuck that, you know? It wasn't important. Whatever it was that I was about to say, and I thought to be very crucial and important and needed to be explained, I'm just going to decide that, hey, you know what? It wasn't really that important. As a matter of fact, it was not important at all. It is completely omittable. And with that, let's move on so I can keep talking. I've been fascinated lately by what I was mentioning before, our behavior and how we behave. If everything in nature or everything in life has a logic, has a logical behavior, it stands by the laws of physics. Again, I'm a high school dropout. I'm not gonna say I'm an ignorant person, but like, I can't really be sure that I know a lot of shit. But yeah, if everything is governed by the laws of physics, or at least that's the theory, then everything should, in a sense, make sense, be connected, be part of a greater thing, you know, of something that we're not even capable of understanding, and probably not even important in, you know, like, we're not participants in the dwellings of the universe. We're just like here for a minute, just by chance. But however we act a certain way, could there be any logic to how we behave? Could there be any purpose to how we act? Like, is there anything beneficial of me reacting the way I did to that car crossing the road in front of me in society's standard? I just remember what I was going to say before. But yeah, does it make any sense? And going back to what I was about to say before and I forgot, I pay a lot of attention to kids, and I find it so interesting because I feel like that's raw human form, or the closest thing we have to that. Why? Because I often think, if we are really, really, really influenced and affected to who we are by not only our genes, our genetics, and like what our parents tell us when we grow up, the experiences we have with friends, like as kids, there's a few things that makes us, and we don't pick them, we just get exposed to them and they affect us. It's that simple. And so there's a bunch of shit that makes us, but that's not us, or that wouldn't have to be us. That is quite simply not what makes us, and we're not those events. Those are simply the events that we've been exposed to and that affect us. I mean, same way that someone can be racist and be exposed to a set of ideas, not an argument that, hey, you shouldn't be racist, no, but like the pure logic of reasoning that it's something pointless and it's born out of ignorance. And by ignorance, I don't mean it in like trying to use it as an insult, but rather a definition of not knowing stuff. It's ignorance. Like, if you knew more stuff about everything, if you understood stuff better, you wouldn't be scared of that thing you don't understand. You would just be like, yeah, well, you know, there's not really much mystery to this. This is how this works, and that's it. You know, it's that guy looks different than me because fuck knows why. I don't have no idea why. I just know that he's too similar to me, to the point that I can't really say he's different. And you come to the conclusion that we're both human and we're both the same. And whatever you were being racist about has no meaning. It just literally makes no sense. Like, think about the most intelligent people in society. They wouldn't be racist to today's eyes. But since you are affected by the world you live in, maybe they did start being racist. Maybe they did start thinking a certain way. And what I'm trying to say about this is, like, same way that you can get someone that was racist to stop being racist, or essentially to be different, you know, what is in essence that person changes, and yet the carcass remains. I mean, the person remains here, you know. It's not like he disappears because he's not him anymore. No, he's here. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't change shit, really. So could that imply that there is an us that is the pure raw state of us as human beings, that is whatever we are when we're not conditioned by the moment in time and society that we were born in? Because let's say I would be a lot different even if I was born in the same time as I was born. I was born in 97. Let's say I was also born in 97, but I was born in another part of the world, or even in another part of Spain, to different parents, to, like, let's say you added certain variables, and I would be different. There's this scenario where I'm here talking to you guys about different things. Another one where I'm not even talking about things at all. Another one where I'm not even, like, in Spain anymore. I'm doing some other stuff. Another one in which I'm dead, you know, like. And that, when I put it that way, in terms that we can't comprehend and reason, it makes a lot of sense. It's pretty obvious, you could say. So wait, that means that if I was born in another time, I would also be affected by whatever shit affected life in that time, right? Like, I would be different, right? But I wouldn't be different in essence. Like, I'm the same. I don't want to sound stupid saying this because I might say it wrong, but I'm the same carbon-based life form, the same one, you know. Apparently Homo sapiens have been the same for, like, years upon years upon years upon years, you know. It's just that whatever mutation that happened that made us intelligent, like, that's stayed like that, it seems. So if literally I'm the same, but I'm really affected by the things around me, can I hack that? You know, and by hacking that, I mean, can I purposefully and with a very clear goal in mind affect the way I are, the way I am? Can I affect the way I am? Fuck. It's hard to explain this shit. I think it's a dense topic. But can I condition? Can I change the way I am and conditioned it with whatever I decide that is the better way to be? Going back to another episode that I did in the past, let's say you have certain goals and you want to do them this way, and you decide that, oh no, it's impossible, I'm not going to be able to face this, oh my god, it's so hard, so difficult, blah blah blah. What if I don't play it that way? What if I simply tell myself, hey man, let's put a different input, because that's going to affect you, under the premise that, well, you are what you eat, so let's eat something good. We understand that perfectly with like health, as in body health. You know that if you eat more healthy food, if you eat less shit that isn't necessary for you, you understand, and it's obvious that okay, yeah, I'm gonna be healthier, I'm gonna live better, I'm gonna actually even have more positive thoughts, even but we don't understand it the same, and I don't know why, because it doesn't have to be different in regards to our brain, our mentality. It doesn't really need to be different that way. If the laws of physics are the same, then okay, very stupidly, a guy like me who has no education in science besides high school can decide, okay, if the machine, as in muscular way, in muscles, even though surely our brain is affected by this, but if the machine is affected about what I eat, could it be affected about what thoughts I feed it also? Maybe yes, and I think that to some extent it could make sense that it's this way. It could it could very well make sense, because same way, if you expose someone to the realization through logic, fact, whatever makes him click, that whatever thought he used to have is stupid, and it doesn't really make much sense, because it's not like that, life is not like that, it doesn't work like that. And as in the example I put before, you can make someone stop being racist. People have that ability. Perhaps they have to choose it themselves, you can't just impose ideas, but whatever the reason or the process, there is the capability of doing that. So can you do that in general with your brain? Can you decide what the input is, and that way behave differently, be more capable, or at least have different capabilities? Can you do that? Is that possible? Well, that's a very, very interesting idea. Could it be? Could it be possible? I think that it's as simple as deciding to believe that, yeah, it's fucking possible. Fuck yeah, it is. Oh yeah, I'm gonna think this way now. I'm gonna feed myself these ideas. Why? For the simple fact that I know for sure that I'm gonna grow. Or to put it in other words, I'm gonna be putting shit in my brain that wasn't there. And that's gonna be positive, because we call that growth. Building our brain, growing, improving. One thing that is very simple in regards to that is questioning your thoughts, and this is I'm gonna end it here, because I think it has already been a very interesting episode. But about questioning your thoughts, in the next episode I might, if I end up talking about that, I might not, but I might talk about how in a recent situation I had to question my thoughts of in regards to a situation. Same way that the thing that happened in this episode with the car. Let's say an event took place and I interpreted it in a certain way. Well, questioning my thoughts, I got myself to sit down and be like, hey little bitch, this is not how you should be reacting to this. this really isn't. But why? Well, stop and think. And that's what I did. I took my time and thought. I started thinking. And surprisingly, I was able to see things differently. I'm not going to go into more detail about this because it's really, really interesting, and I think it would be something that I could develop on for another half an hour. I think today's session was good enough. I am actually late for a meeting, a bit late, but yeah, I have to meet with a friend now. So yeah, I think we're gonna leave it here. I hope that was interesting for you guys. It was certainly interesting for me. I mean, this last topic is something that is mind-blowing to me because I want to think that it's, at least in my personal experience, it's not how I was programmed to think. It's not like I was educated to like process things, but it is a way of thinking. And yeah, I'm actually very happy to share it with you guys. Like, hey, as always, guys, if this was helpful to you or mildly interesting, or you think that it could be interesting to someone, whoever that may be, please feel free to share the episode, perhaps with a quick message about, oh my god, lady, a quick message about like, hey man, he's talking about this and that, or just share it and don't say nothing. But if you think that there's someone that might find this interesting, that might have even talked to you about these things or something, if you think about someone, and when I say that, please, by all means, show this to that someone. That's how this grows organically. This should only be listened to by the people that might find value in this. To many people, as I've mentioned in other episodes, this is nothing, you know. It means nothing really. It's like, you know, it's not special. It's simply not special. But for others, this might have a lot of value. So it's those guys that we need to help by showing them this. Not everyone. That's why maybe don't post this on social media and like scream out loud like, hey, everyone should listen to this. Not really. But if you know that someone that might find value to this, please share it with them, because that's going to help me grow my audience, eventually making this sustainable, and it's gonna perhaps make his day better. Who knows? It might. But yeah, guys, thanks a lot for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. I really did. I can say I did. It was fucking cool. And I see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.